Well, hey there, guys. I know you could probably say, hey, stranger. And you would be right. I feel like I'm a stranger. I've been away for so long, but I'm here today. Had a lot of things going on. But anyway, welcome back. Or y'all say, welcome me back. I had to make time to get on here today because the pressure has been on for me to get back in my place. I had some things going on that I'm going to share with you. But first, before I get into all of that, if this is your first time in, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll know when to upload a video. Subscribe, share the video. And that's it. So you haven't seen me for a while. And with kind of good reason. Not trying to give you an excuse, but let me say Happy New Year to you and your family. And I think I might even be in a place to say Merry Christmas because I don't remember the last time that I did a video, but I think it's been at least 2 months. Doesn't seem like that long, but I know that I haven't been here. So for 2025, I'm moving into a different area of what I'll be sharing on Hidden Woman Within. And it is health related. And, we are 3 parts. We are a spirit, we have a soul, we live in a body, and we have to take care of all 3 parts. And if you are lacking in one, you'll be lacking in the other 2. So we have to take care of all 3 parts. So here, for a little while, I don't know how long, I'm going to be talking about our health. And again, let me just say, I only give you information. What you do with that information is totally up to you. You don't have to take my word for anything. Just like I did my research, you go do yours. So I think it was after Christmas. So it probably was more the beginning of January. I had noticed that I was having this pain in my back. And this pain was traveling from my lower part of my back to my side, to my abdomen. And it was like having a toothache or an earache. So if you have an earache, sometimes you don't know if it's your actual ear or if it's your tooth. Then if you have a toothache, then you don't know which tooth it is because the pain is there. I don't know. It just hurts. And that's kind of where I was, to the point where one evening I came home from work. I got home about 11:30 at night. And this was it had to be around the Christmas holiday time because we were open until 11 o'clock. I work at TJ Maxx. And literally, I was in that much pain that I got up at 1 a.m. Saturday morning and drove myself to the emergency room. So I get to the emergency room and they take me in. I'm explaining to them because I'm in pain. I mean, it was cold outside, and for me to get up at that hour in the morning and drive myself to the emergency room, and it's not like the emergency room was around the corner. I had to drive. It was about 20 minutes away from me, 25 minutes. So I get there and they take me in the back. I'm explaining to them what's happening, the pain that I'm feeling. So then he told me, the doctor on call that night or whatever, the emergency room doctor said, well, it sounds like you have diverticulitis. And then I knew I've heard that before and I wasn't 100% what it was. And so I asked him. And so he was explaining to me and I'm like, So then he starts poking around in my stomach. He said, oh no, you don't have that. He said, because if you did, you would be screaming right about now. I said, okay. So he didn't know what was wrong. And so then what they did was they gave me an IV and then told me that they were going to do a CT scan. So by this time, I'm hurting and I'm cold, I'm tired, and now I'm feeling nauseous. So they put in an IV, and y'all, they gave me some morphine. I don't know if you ever had any morphine, but I was like, all right now. I had never had it, but I remember saying to the nurse, I said, I know what y'all do use that for. When I was taking care of Grammy, toward her last days, they had me to give her morphine. And that was just basically to make her more comfortable in, they call it terminal restlessness. That's what they called it. when they gave that to her. So that kind of calmed her down. And some other drugs they had me giving her that I hated to give her. But, her body was fighting, shutting down. She was 101 and a half. Her body was like, hey, I'm done. In her mind, she was too. But it's like she wanted to go to heaven. I don't know anybody that desperately wanted to go to heaven more than Graham, and I know she's there. But we weren't meant to die in the first place. That's a whole nother thing, but I'm just sharing. We weren't meant to die, so her body was fighting that. And that's what we do. We're fighting death. We're fighting aging. We're doing all kind of stuff to stay young and healthy. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So anyway, let me go back to the hospital situation. So they gave me some of that morphine. I was feeling all right. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had to look, can I take some of that home? No, ma'am, you can't take it now. I'm like, okay. So they gave me that. Then I was able to go to sleep because once that stuff hit me, I was like, oh my gosh, the pain, I don't know if it completely left or not, because I know I was able to go to sleep. Then they came in, woke me up and took me down for this CT scan. So now they're pumping more stuff into me. So only thing the doctor could come up with, and he says, well, you seem to have a small UTI. I said to myself, I ain't got no UTI because I know what that is. I've had it, I think, twice in my life. I've had a urinary tract infection. All right. And so he said, well, you got a small infection. Okay. So because they didn't know what was wrong, because the CT scan, according to them, came back negative. They didn't see nothing. Okay. So they sent me home with a prescription. At the emergency room, they can't just send you home without some type of diagnosis, because if something happens to you, they're liable. I remember when I was married and I wound up taking my husband to the emergency room late one night, about 10, 11 o'clock, his heart was racing. I took him to the emergency room and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And then one of the doctors said, they have a book about this thick of reasons that your heart could be palpitating that way. We ain't reading it. So they kept him in the hospital for 3 days because they had to run tests. They had to rule out what they needed to rule out, because if they had sent him home and he had a heart attack, they would have been liable. So they send me home with this prescription. So I didn't take that prescription. He gave me 2 prescriptions that night. One was for the UTI. Don't ask me what that other one was for. For pain. So when the prescriptions came ready, I picked them up. The UTI, when I told myself I'm not taking that because I'm not going to take it. The other one for pain, they gave me. And then, shortly after, I started feeling some kind of way, but I'm still in pain. Sunday, I'm still feeling some kind of way. I'm in the bed now and I am sick as a dog. And then I got to go to work Monday morning. So what do? I get up and take my tail to work. I was literally in that office for about 15 minutes. I said, I got to go. I have to get out. I got to go. So I wound up taking myself back to the emergency room that was across the street, basically, from my job. I get in there. This doctor tells me, oh, you don't have a UTI. And I'm like, well, I could have told you that. And the medication that the other doctor gave me, he told me don't take it. And he prescribed me some more medication. Then they did another CT scan. They put more dye in. So now they're pumping me with medication and this dye. And I left from there and I went home and I was in the bed for 2 days. Prior to the 2 days that I was already in the bed. And I was most miserable. I couldn't sleep. And so then this rash appeared on my side. And I would just sometimes lay there and try to figure out, where is that pain at? And then I located the pain. And then they sent me went to see my doctor. She sends me to a spine specialist. He told me I got a herniated disc. And they tell me, you want to see it? I'm like, because I had to take him the CT scan that I got. They gave me a disc with it on there. And he's showing me, where this disc is that slipped or whatever. It didn't look any different to me. But there was something about the way he said it. He told me twice, you want to see it? And I'm like, I didn't know what I was looking at. And it looked the same to me. He says, that's where your pain is coming from. Okay, so he sends me to get an MRI. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe that pain, because that ain't my spine where the pain is coming from. It was literally coming from my side. So I go to get the MRI and I can't get in there. I'm freaking out. I thought that I could handle it, and he put me in that tube. No, 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 no. Take me out, take me out, take me out. He said, what's the matter? I said, I can't, you can't put me in that tube. And I've had an MRI before, but it was an open MRI, and this doctor doesn't do open MRIs. So he says, well, let's try the feet first. So he puts me in feet first. And then I'm like, okay, I'm thinking that my head is going to be out. I said, no, we're not doing this. I can't. I can't. So I never had the MRI done. I'm like, and put my money back in my account too. So no MRI, but this pain now, there was a rash. There was 2 rashes right where this pain was, and they were itching. I'm like, well, what bit me? Nothing bit me. There wasn't anything with any little teeth mark on it or anything like that. So I kind of figured out. Then it started burning. Then it started hurting. Oh, I couldn't stand to have my clothes touch it and this, that, and the other. And then shingles. I didn't have a bad case of it, but honey, it was centralized. And so I heard somebody say shingles is from the devil. Yeah, they are. I remember my mom had it. I remember one time my pastor had shingles. And I think one of the residents was here one time was telling me she had shingles and never paid attention to it. But anyway, with everything that had happened, all that medication that they were giving me, and then the medication that they were giving me was making me sick because I don't take medication. If I'm hurting, sometimes my knees might hurt and my lower back might hurt, I'm taking Tylenol. And I'm even careful about that because if you take too much of that, that can mess with your liver. And I have opted out of medication. Now, don't misunderstand. If I have to take it, I will. But I have no life-threatening illness that says, oh, you need to take this medication. And I'm not going to have it either. But I'm not so stubborn to say that if that were to happen, that I wouldn't do what I needed to do. I would fight it with everything that I have. So at that point, I made a decision. And I said, I need to be the advocate for my health care, for my own health care. Because my PCP, if she had it her way, I'd be in her office every month because, they want to get paid. And, she's got me, what, are you still taking high blood pressure medicine? I said, no. She says, why not? I said, because I don't have high blood pressure. She said, oh, and this is my doctor. And then through this whole ordeal, she said, are you still taking the cream that I gave you? And I said, what cream? She said, don't you have a rash? I said, no, I don't. But it was almost like she was prophetically speaking because a rash did show up. And she didn't prescribe me any cream, none that I paid for and brought home. But I did have an antibiotic and some cortisone in my medicine cabinet because some kind of bug bit me and my leg blew up. And so I bought that stuff to stop the itching and all that kind of. So I had that. So I started putting that on it. And for this went on for about almost a month, about a good 3.5 weeks between the pain and the rash. And it finally just ceased. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going through anything like that anymore. So I decided it's time for me to be more mindful of how I take care of myself and pay attention to those things. Now, I don't know that I could have prevented from having shingles, but I know one thing. I could have said, no to some of that medication that they were giving because literally one doctor prescribed it on Saturday and then on Monday, the other doctor said, don't take that. and they discarded it. And I was like, I thought y'all was in this thing together. One doctor, you tell me don't take this medication. So anyway, I didn't take any of it. I mean, I did take it, but then after everything was said and done, that stuff went in the trash can. I didn't even flush it down the sink. It went into the trash can. So I told you all of that to say this, that we only get one body. There's some people that little bionic stuff going on. I got a friend, she had both of her hips replaced. Another friend of mine, she had one of her hips replaced. And one lady is my age, the other one is younger. I'm determined not to have to do that. I've made some health decisions for me to make sure that those things don't happen. I don't have time to be having a hip replacement or a knee replacement. But what I noticed about myself was over a year ago, I used to walk 2 miles a day, every day. And then when I saw how quickly I could get in and get it done, I even started getting up Sunday morning before church and go and walk, and then come back and still had time to shower and get myself ready to go to service. So basically, I was walking 6 to 7 days a week. And then I started working part-time, and then me with myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I ain't doing all this walking around this store, and then, or start walking in the morning and then walking in the afternoon. So anyway, for me at that time, it was a bit much. So I kind of slacked off on the walking, and then I would go on my days off. Then I went from part-time to full-time. Then at that point, I was like, I'm really not walking anywhere in the morning. And I would get up at 5 o'clock and, boots on the ground, and I'm out the door. And so when I started working full-time, I got away from all of that. But I was moving all the time. And I'm a worker bee. I'm not the type that's just going to sit around and, because I'm at my full retirement age. I did try to retire a couple of years ago. I was like, yeah, retirement, no, I'm going to refire. I'm not going to retire. So I was working full-time. I'm still full-time, working full-time. And I was on the floor. I worked retail, constantly moving. I got a promotion. So I was a department head. And we had gotten all new fixtures, and I had to put the fixtures together. I had to put the merchandise on the fixtures, and wasn't really like anybody helping me because that was my department. I ain't gonna get into the retail entry right now. But anyway, I was working. And I remember there were days that I worked 9, 10, 12-hour days because I didn't know how to go home. I wanted to get the job done. I have never been one to start something. Let me stop saying it because I got plenty of craft projects in there that I have not finished. But at work, if I have an assignment, I want to get it done before my shift ends. And that's kind of what I was doing. So I got away from all exercise. Now we think that moving and exercising is the same. It's not. Because when you're just moving, you're not necessarily hitting any core areas. You're just in motion. And so over time, being on that floor, it began to take a serious toll on my knees and my back. Now, I'm being very transparent here. It wasn't just the floor. It was the fact that I had gained some weight. And so, actually being on the floor helped me with that. But then being on the floor was a problem for me with my knees on that hard floor. That was a problem. So then I, said to the store manager, I said, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. And I said, all these long hours on my feet is taking a toll on my back and my knees. And I said, and I was going to step down from my position because my position didn't call for a part-time coordinator. You had to be full-time. So then come to find out, the administrative coordinator was leaving. So when she was leaving, they had nobody to replace her but me. So it was a lateral promotion, but I went right into that position. So then I'm sitting down, get up when I file stuff or go put the drawers out for the cash. But then I'm sitting there counting money and, balancing everything out, which I absolutely love. And so, but I'm sitting. I'm not moving as much as I was before. And no movement, you don't move it, you're going to lose it. And so then I started noticing, okay, my knees are really bothering me. And then my lower back, I was in so much pain one day. I was like, what is going on? And I almost hope it could have been me, but I felt like I heard the Holy Spirit say, get on the scale. And I did. I had put on like 7 pounds, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, okay. And then this was my mindset. Well, it's the holidays. They don't need me trying to lose it now because I'm going to eat. Christmas is coming, New Year's is coming. And so I didn't get into the mode because I already knew what I wanted to eat. I wanted some chicken and dumplings. And it wasn't no need of me trying to lose weight then because I was going to eat. And I knew I was going to eat. So, but it's after the holidays now. And so with everything that was said and done, I said, Lord, I see women younger than me that are not doing so well health-wise. And I know that there are people older than me not doing so well. But I also know that there's a lot of older women doing even better than I am. And I'm like, why? Why is it that she's, 75 years old looking like she's 60? or, with the mindset of a 60-year-old or a 30-year-old or whatever that is. And so I said, okay, time for some changes. So I tend to watch a lot of lectures on health. Now, mind you, I'm 67. I'm going to be 68 here in a few months. I never, when I was younger, was interested in anything health-wise. I drank alcohol sometimes when I went out to go party because I love to dance, and a little rum and coke got me on the floor. I did my little share of drugs. I tell you, I'm being transparent. None of you, I know y'all ain't never did none of that. It's just me. So I'm just telling you about what I did. I never thought anything about any of the effects of those things. I smoked cigarettes. I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day for a year. No, not a year. I'm lying. For 15 years, I smoked cigarettes. And actually what made me quit is that I found out my kids were trying to smoke a little something. I ain't going to tell you which one. But if you know my kids, you probably know which one it is. Lonnie. So anyway, it wasn't until I got older that I started paying attention to health. And I don't even know if I'm going to say that I started paying attention, because some years ago, I had the idea to do some juicing, and I bought a juicer, and I went on a juice fast for 7 days. And in those 7 days, I lost 9 pounds. It wasn't just about the weight. It was about the energy that I had, the clarity of thinking that I had. I mean, I just felt good. And so, I'm still juicing to this day. Now, do I juice every day? No. It's just like in the summertime, it's easier to drink a lot of cold stuff. And then in the wintertime, you tend to drink a lot of warm stuff. And yes, I'm in Texas and the weather's kind of funky, but it gets cold here too. We just had a little storm. And so I don't juice as much in the winter as I do in the summer. And again, it has a lot to do with what's available, fruits and vegetable wise, what's in season. Now, and I just did some juicing. I've got 15 jars of juice in my freezer right now because I'm preparing to do a juice cleanse. But I gotta wait. I got some other things going on. I'm in the middle of transitioning from one job to the next. And this one's a little more intense. And so I have to make sure that, I'm positioned where I can do what I need to do for myself physically. So anyway, I'm not going to keep you, but I want to prepare you to let you know what I'm going to be sharing. And I'm not just going to be sitting here telling you my opinion, because I had to find out this stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you on my own. And I listened to a lot of lectures, and I like scientifically background, where they can back up stuff, like when they do these researches and stuff. And so if let's say when they try some type of an experiment, so then they have 10 people over here that they give a placebo, and 10 people over here they give the real stuff. And then they see what those things are. But I learned something the other day about microbiome. And microbiome has to do with your gut and about the bacteria, the good, the bad, and all that stuff. And how each one of us, our microbiome is different. And say you can eat an apple, I can eat an apple, but that apple will do something different for your body than it will for mine. That's why I've always believed there's not one size does not fit all. You get somebody that loses 50 pounds and they want to write a book and tell you how to do it. Well, that works for you. And I'm not saying it wouldn't work for somebody else, but you've got to try things and find out for yourself what works for your body. I just don't let people tell me, oh, you need to do this, because see, one of the things that I backed away from is a lot of meat. I don't eat a lot of meat. First question people ask, well, where are you getting protein from? I said the same place that the protein is getting its protein from, the ground. So again, I'm like, take responsibility for yourself. I was sharing with somebody I was talking to the other day. I said, if you don't want people to have an opinion about what you're doing, then keep your mouth shut. You ain't got to tell them everything. So, but for me, when somebody's asking me, because I just joined the gym, I was determined, I got weights. I got a little cycle machine a friend of mine gave me. I have a total gym. I got everything I need to get myself physically fit. I've got YouTube. I've got videos. I can do it. I find that it's easy to say that I'm going to do all those things, but I get here at home, I don't be doing none of that. Those weights are over there in the corner. That total gym is over there in the closet. I moved it from the dining room into the closet. And so I said, you know what? I have to realize. And then the thing about it, I have a gym upstairs, absolutely free. It doesn't have everything in there that I, would use, but it has, basically enough for you to stay in shape. So I was doing a little research on, I loved my daughter and I, when I was living with her, she had a gym membership through her job, and, I could go with her. And in the steam room, oh my gosh, that steam room is all that. And the sauna. And so I started doing a little research on, I said, you know what? I'm going to join the gym. I'm going to go to the gym. I want a gym that has either a steam room or a sauna or both. So I started doing a little research, and I found that there's a gym here called Crunch. I don't know if they're nationwide or whatever, but anyway, I went the other day. I was able to join a whole month free for a penny, and, no obligation. So I got up this morning and I went to the gym. I got on the treadmill. I walked for 30 minutes. I'm going to do it again tomorrow, and probably the next day. And then I'll just, go into it. But I need to be in that gym. So it's about taking care of yourself physically. And me going to the gym makes it easier because I'm out, as crazy as this sounds. I don't like to be around a lot of people, but I think being out in the gym around people, that's a motivator for me. So it's like I'm committed to myself now. Okay, so now next month I'm gonna start paying for it. And I could opt out, but I'm opting out of the gym is like opting out of myself. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to take care of the one body that God gave me because I got stuff to do. He's got a plan for me and for you. And I want to be physically fit, spiritually, mentally, and physically, to do the thing that I need to do. All right. I'm about out of time. You guys know I don't like to, 30 minutes is kind of my cap. But I'm going to be more prepared to share with you. I just don't want to rattle things off. If I tell you, what's the benefits of castor oil or use castor oil, I want to be able to tell you why you should use castor oil and why it might have the same effect for you. There are some things that we can do that we can basically all get the same effect from. So like say if you had a cold and you had a really bad cough, and then you could take some cough syrup that would quiet that cough. Well, 10 people probably can take that same cough syrup and it quiet their cough. You got to find out what works for you. And that's the journey that I'm on, finding out what works for this body, this 67.5-year-old body that I have, because the same information that a doctor might be able to give a 67-year-old man is not going to be the same information that's going to work for me. So take your health into your own hands. I don't do New Year's resolutions. Everything that I've been doing, it's been a lifestyle change. I've lost 25 pounds just doing it. It's been over a period of time. I didn't lose it, last week, and I've put 8 of those pounds back on, and I feel it. Oh my gosh, do I feel it. But it's time for that to go. Anyway, guys, I'll be back to share some more information with you. And again, you can begin to take that information and do with it as you will. If I'm talking about not eating meat, you don't have to stop eating meat. You can eat as much meat as you want to. I'm not saying that I'm a vegetarian. I'm not calling myself that. I'm making some lifestyle changes that are going to work for Charlotte. So with that being said, I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope you'll continue to tune in. I shared some stuff with you guys about, having some stuff to give away. I've changed my mind about a lot of crafting and stuff. So at some point, if you start leaving some comments about whatever, it doesn't matter. Like I said, I've been taking stuff to RCC Ministries and dropping stuff off because I'm getting tired of all this stuff. I don't have time for a lot of this stuff because right now I'm focusing on physically taking care of me. So I've got some tumblers and some bags and stuff that I'm going to be giving away. And if you guys are interested in some of that, well, leave a comment. Yes, I'm interested. What kind of tumblers you got or whatever, And then if there are comments and you do want to, participate in me giving stuff away, I think I mentioned it before. I'm giving it away, but I'm not paying to have it sent to you. So we'll talk about that in another video. All right, guys, love you. Be cool. Stay cool. Well, it's February, so it's warm here in Texas. So love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.